It's still way too hot to do much in the garden here. This time of year is probably the most challenging for us in the subtropics of Australia, and the current state of my front garden is overgrown jungle. Normally it's the sweet potato that takes over, but this year it's our Jap pumpkin that I planted back in October. It does look a lot better compared to this time last year, and if I was brave enough to enter, I'd find eggplant, fennel, Brazilian spinach, Madagascar beans, loofah, basil, pumpkins, and loads of jalapenos. It's always good to look back to the past to prepare for the year ahead. So I wanted to do a roundup of what we did last year in the garden. And as every year does, it starts with a wet, humid, and not a great time for gardening, with loads of pests and diseases. In 2025, we did a lot of infrastructure projects, and they are still ongoing. In January, we started off with getting a new 10,000 litre water tank, although I didn't get to use it until the pump got hooked up in September. We did have a dry winter, so it did take a little while to fill it. We did also start the year with a load of free mulch from a local arborist, which meant all our paths got a lovely refresh of wood chip mulch. We do fairly thick layers of our paths, which keeps the weeds away, and a year on, it is still holding up pretty well. Anything that sprouts is usually something that I've let go to seed. In January, I didn't plant any of my monthly beds just because it was too hot and horrible. I did, however, do some cover crops to prepare for February. The year prior, I had really slacked off with my composting, and it did really start to show in the garden. So I ended up buying a load of compost from Red Soil Organics early last year. It was amazing, but it was very, very potent. It took a few weeks for me to be able to plant things in there without it getting burnt off, but it definitely gave my garden beds the boost that it needed. I'm now back with my own compost, and I have to say that there is nothing better than having your own compost. I've got my system going pretty well now where I'm able to harvest monthly and get enough to reset 2 garden beds. In February, I decided it was time to stop battling the tree root invasions from next door and convert our backyard completely to a zone for wicking beds and the aquaponics. So we pulled up all of our old raised beds and set up another wicking bed. I still have another wicking bed to put up in this area, as well as aquaponics, which is still not set up as we ran out of time before it got too hot to venture outside for too long. As for planting, we did get a crop of corn in for February, and at the end of February, Cyclone Alfred hit, but we got very minimal damage, a tiny bit of hail, some corn had fallen over, but nothing major at all. Early March, I'd finally gotten back into the swing of things. I hadn't been in the greenhouse, so I had to direct sow the entire bed with seeds, and I was really pleased with the amount of produce that it produced and how quickly the bed turned around. I went with fast growing things for this bed. In it we had carrots, we had snow peas, rocket and Asian greens. This bed finished up and I was ready to replant by July. Before planting out our garlic in late March, we did harvest a lot of our sweet potato. Normally I wait until Anzac Day, but I did need that space. It was a pretty small harvest compared to previous years, and I'm not particularly hopeful about this year's crop either. In late March, we also got our garlic in. I experimented with different spacing as well as growing in a wicking bed. The wicking bed did really well, and more space between plants just meant larger bulbs. So it really depends on what you're after. My biggest lesson with the garlic this year was definitely to look at the plants as opposed to timing. I did go a little bit early with turning off my irrigation on some of the larger bulbs, and I should have been paying more attention to them and letting them grow a little bit more before I started doing that. In March, I also sowed all of my onion and leek seeds in trays. I kept these in trays until early May, but we had a pretty decent harvest from the Gladylin brown onions from October right up to the end of December. I do have 2 surviving leeks still growing, but I don't anticipate seeing these harvested until closer to winter as they're still quite small. In April, it was time to relocate our chickens to make room for a new shed. We built a Royal Rooster chicken coop in a hidden away back corner of our yard. You can check out the review of this chicken coop in another video, but let's just say it wasn't a fun time for either my husband or I. But once the chickens were settled, we pulled down the old run and coop and built a new garden shed. The garden shed is a Stratco stubby, which is a 3x3 metre shed, which was small enough to not need council approval. April was the first month that we were able to plant our brassicas in the ground. We did a full bed of cauliflower and broccoli with some sugar snap peas and cos lettuce. It was around this time that I did start to have a lot of issues with seedlings going missing overnight. The entire root balls of transplanted seedlings went missing. The leaves of the seedlings were just sitting on top of the soil. At first I thought it was cutworms, then curl grubs, then I thought mice, until I finally pinpointed the culprit as a greenhouse cockroach, which in its baby form it looks like a large brown slater. As an adult it looks more like a delicate looking cockroach. They have a particular fondness to brassicas. I lost nearly 24 plants, so it wasn't a great year for broccoli and cauliflower. I tried a bunch of different techniques to get them under control. In the end, I've found chucking the chickens in the garden beds before planting has been the best way to get the numbers down. They do disappear over the months when it gets cooler, but that tends to be only for around about 2 months of the year. I also got my autumn tomatoes in this month. Unfortunately, I lost way too many of them with the greenhouse cockroaches, so the dreams of having passata day were ruined. I did, however, have enough to make some tomato salsa and a few jars of passata. May was when our homemade compost came back online. We planted out all of those onions and we kept up succession planting with loads of the leafy greens. As I kept losing plants from what I planted back in April, I did 2 beds that month. And I can't say the harvests really improved as I was still losing the battle to those cockroaches. The one standout that we did have was kohlrabi. We always had one available in the garden if we needed it. I did repurpose some of the old garden beds that we ripped out and made a dedicated pineapple zone as well. June was ginger harvest time. We got loads from our jumbo ginger that I froze, dried and pickled. We also set loads aside for ginger beer making. I planted out another staple bed in one of the wicking beds. It did alright, but it did become apparent that this wicking bed was wicking a little bit too well and the plants were just getting far too much water. I did still get an alright harvest from here though, just things were a little bit slower than compared to some of the other beds. As soon as it finished, I pulled everything out, all of the soil, checked the levels, which were actually quite fine. It was more the composition of the soil, so I added lots of perlite and organic matter. June was also when we got our new puppy Betty. Barricades needed to be put up and any form of stinky fertilizer is now off the table in our garden. July was a good month. It was potato planting time. I experimented with many methods this year. Moving forward, I am just going to be doing 20-litre felt bag pots for determinate varieties with 1 seed per bag. I will also be burying a lot deeper than what I did last year. The tower was a bust, but I think perhaps it might work for indeterminate varieties of potatoes, hilling up instead of planting layers, which I might try this year. I planted out my staple bed with our homemade compost and it was crazy how fast this bed grew. We had fennel, tatsoi, snow peas, carrots and beets. I pulled so much produce out of this one small bed. August, we switched to the warm season crops, and of course that week when I planted everything was the coldest week of the year, but it didn't take long for things to switch into gear. I did have issues with my veg pod, which again turned out to be too much water. As soon as I stopped watering it, everything just exploded with growth. August was also the time when we set up the fruit fly traps to start for the warm season. The window of when they aren't around is really definitely decreasing, but our numbers have dropped since we've been using these pheromone traps to catch the males. September was when we got our first run of corn in. It's always a tricky one to grow as it really loves the heat, but if it rains when it's flowering, you can get low kernel development. So this year with this Jolly Roger variety, even though it did rain, we had really good formation, so I'm pretty happy with that. My fruit salad tree, which is a multi-grafted stone fruit tree, got a bit confused. It flowered in March and we picked our first peaches in September. Thankfully, it did flower again over spring and we were picking fruit right up until the end of December. With our stormwater fix, I was finally able to sort out the side of our house where a lot of our utilities reside. I have started by repurposing some of the garden beds that we ripped up and made some beds for some espaliered citrus fruit trees and some herbs. I've also set up a Dutch bucket hydroponic system to try out growing tomatoes. I did intend on stringing these up, but I never got around to it, so it's a bit of a mess, but they are actually producing pretty well so far. October, I got in aroma tomato, some beans and basil. It's pretty stock standard summer crop to grow. We've made so much pesto from the basil that we've planted around, which has been great. I've got loads in the freezer. We also planted our sweet potatoes in October, and I set up a bed of things that are better at surviving more tropical climate summers. So I did think I overplanted this a little bit, but it turns out that it wasn't the things that I planted. It was the things next door that has taken over. The Madagascan climbing bean, which is actually on the bed over, has climbed over the arch and is now going all through this garden bed, along with the pumpkin that I planted in October as well. It has just taken over this entire front yard. I did plant out a bed with some tromboncino, which is a climbing gourd. We eat it young like a zucchini or leave it on the vine and it becomes more like a mild butternut. In this bed, I also planted in some capsicums and some eggplant. A lot of those got eaten by those cockroaches, so I gave up and turned it into a sweet potato bed. I've since just moved a lot of my capsicums into pots this year and they're doing quite well. In November, I planted another zucchini and cucumber in one of the wicking beds with a bunch of other things. We had some really good harvests out of here, but when the rains hit, it really did affect this wicking bed and everything slowed right down. We were supplied with cucumbers from this bed right up until last week. In early December, a massive storm came through and a tree branch fell onto our garden and wiped out our fence, damaged our new shed a little bit. The arches did get hit as well and they are done and they're currently just being held together by a series of star pickets and cable ties and hopes and dreams that they're not going to collapse as you walk under. In December, I planted out some borlotti beans, microgreens and a cherry tomato. My cherry tomato did end up failing, so I had to plant another one. And my borlotti beans did get smashed by mites, but I did get a fair bit of microgreens and it's definitely how I'll be doing my leafy greens for those hot months again this year. Now coming to the end of summer for us, we are in the thick of chili and eggplant harvests. The rosellas are starting to roll in and the pineapples are very close. I did plant out a simple bed for January, which just consists of green beans and sweet corn, and I've used some loose leaf lettuce as space fillers in here. In the greenhouse, I have already started my broccoli and cauliflower. I like to get them going via seed at least 6 weeks before planting them out, which will mean it'll be around March when we are getting those in. I'll wait until it cools down a bit before I jump in and clean out the jungle. We've still got a bit to go to get through summer heat as well as the wettest month of the year. But hopefully I'll be able to get stuck back into it in the next couple of weeks and start doing my regular videos again. And hopefully my camera stops overheating every time I go outside. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you soon.